Overseas polling booths are about to close for Australia's expat communities, with predictions voting numbers will be down by more than half on the previous federal election. There are fewer polling stations operating overseas for this election, and party representatives say that will impact how many votes are lodged.
It's a different vibe polling at Australia House. It's the largest polling station overseas for the federal election. About 14,000 people voted here in 2019. That number this year expected to be 60% less, but just as passionate.
I've got to come up and make sure that the right government gets in Australia while we're away.
Choices we make here can affect us for the next 3 years and affect our families back home.
Make sure that we're heard. We try and do our best to come up and show our vote.
A steady stream rather than a deluge turning up to cast a ballot, some having no other option but to make the long journey into town after postal vote ballot papers failed to materialise.
I enrolled to vote as an overseas voter well before the deadline. I got sent a confirmation email from the AEC saying, yes, we've got you, we'll send you your ballot papers, and they haven't arrived.
It's believed around 3/4 of overseas polling stations will not be operating this year, with people encouraged to vote by mail, the AEC citing COVID safety protocols. But neither of the major political parties is happy with the move.
Having a visible polling booth where they can come and gather together as a community, cast their vote, they feel that connection with Australia.
Unfortunately, the AEC has tried to encourage people to vote by post without providing the proper resources, and I fear that many Australians will miss out because they closed over 67 polling stations.
He believes it could potentially affect the outcome of electoral seats.
The expat vote has made a difference in key seats in the past several elections. When it's close, the overseas voters carried key seats. It makes the overseas vote very important.
Thousands of Australians have come here to Australia House to cast their vote over the 11 days of polling, but it's feared many may not count. With complicated rules as to who is eligible to vote overseas, some may find their ballot is invalid.
They are coming into the polling booth, filling in their forms, casting their vote, and they'll be thrown in the bin once they go back to Australia.
He says generally travellers in the UK are fine. It's the long-term residents whose overseas voting enrolment details have changed or expired that will be affected. Voting closes in the UK on Friday. Abby Dinham in London, SBS World News.